Just
time.
enjoy
Okay, yeah, we'll work it out.
Okay, hello
Yep.
everybody. We are live. Welcome to GEG APAC. This is about the fourth or fifth workshop that we've had up and running. As you know, GEG APAC is running a whole conference on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is the English language lead, but we have about 6 or 7 languages running this weekend. We have presenters from all over the world for you. We have people from Oman, France, Malaysia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, Japan, the list goes on. And I'm very lucky to introduce you today to one of my favorite work colleagues in Indonesia. So she's at the school that I have joined and will physically be joining in January. I didn't have to twist around too much, I promise you. But I'm very lucky that she has said that she would come and talk to us today. She's got a workshop, a great workshop about the visual arts. So I'm just going to introduce you, everybody. This is Michelle. Hello, Michelle.
Good afternoon, Adriana. How do I follow an absolutely wonderful introduction like that?
Very good. I'm so grateful that you have signed up for this, and it's such a really good topic that you've chosen. I feel like the visual arts and crafts and that thing don't get enough time on their own. So it's really great that you've stepped forward.
Well, we'll give it a try, and I'll just share what we have here with everybody, and I hope that it provides a little bit of inspiration for people. So let's give it a go.
Definitely. Okay, so I'm going to just move myself out of the way because it's not about me and it's all about Michelle and her visual arts. So let's put your presentation up for you.
All right, we're a little bit slow here. We're going through a bit of a storm and the email has decided to take its sweet time. So sorry if we're hanging around a little here, people. Okay.
That's right. So you can see we've both got the art of chit chat, so I'm sure we could cover over anything like that. So I'll leave you to, I'll just be in the background, but I'll be right beside you. Enjoy, everybody.
Thanks, Adriana. Really appreciate that. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Really appreciate it. We've been looking at the visual arts, a little bit about me, nothing spectacular, but my dedication to education has been a lifelong pursuit, lifelong learning, and lifelong opportunities to constantly add to what I know, what I'm doing. Let's just skip on that part. Okay, so yeah, I've been teaching for a while. I'm sure you all have. I'll share what I can. Okay, why the visual arts? So everything that I have been teaching and have been doing has led me down a path to the visual arts. It's an area where I find the most creativity. It's an area that I think nourishes and helps the students grow in the most diverse ways across all disciplines. The arts touches every discipline in some way, shape, or form. What can the visual arts do for us? Well, there are many ways in which we can connect through the visual arts. These happen, we'll discuss these in a minute. The visual arts provide a means through which the students can simultaneously develop and mature multiple brain systems. It is one of the subjects that actually crosses all disciplines, which is why the arts are so integral to keep in our schools. They are so important to share with our young people, and they are such a wonderful stimulus for creativity, imagination, and also balance and life skills. So let's take a journey. Okay. The arts reach out to students that don't normally, you can attract them, you can get them in other ways. I've been a teacher of math, of English, of second language, theory of knowledge, social studies, quite a few things over the years. But the one thing that I love is that the arts can actually make that lovely connection with all the other areas. The students connect to each other better through the arts. They're in a room, they're sitting together, and they're sharing so much all the time. The environment that we have in the art room is one of collaboration, communication, sharing, caring. and always inquiry, always finding out what's going on, experimentation, discovery. It's a beautiful thing. We challenge the students. It doesn't matter whether you're still drawing stick figures and figuring out those, or whether you're actually up to creating wonderful masterpieces with oil paints or sculptures or digital art, lens-based artworks. Everybody has their own level, and the arts allows the students to find their own level, to create from their own level, and to work at their own pace, to challenge themselves along the way. There will be times where we have happy little accidents. There are times where we make amazing discoveries, but the whole way through, it's a wonderful journey. The students make connections to the real world through the visual arts. They bring in a lot of life experiences. They're able to find pathways to explore different issues that perhaps in other subjects they may not be able to. They're able to make connections between their subjects, between the maths, the sciences. They all come in together through the arts, and the students are able to make those real world connections, as well as making the greater global connections, and then bringing that back to understanding how that connects to them as an individual, as a student, as a person of their ethnic, cultural background. The arts allows the students to have the chance to have their own say in what they're going to do, what they will learn, and how they will apply these skills, how they will apply these techniques to what they're doing in the classroom. So it gives the students much more of a voice and much more of a say, but at the same time, it also offers them much more of an opportunity to be responsible, to make their own choices, and to think very carefully, as well as to reflect on exactly what they're doing, how they're doing it, and how they want to achieve that. And when they get to the reflection process, how can they actually do it better the next time? So the students do gain a lot through the arts. So how do the visual arts actually stack up? Well, they're an inclusive thing, because nobody's excluded from the art room. Everybody's included, everybody's welcome, invited, everybody is able to do, try, and achieve. No one is left out. As a discipline, the arts invite all levels of society to participate. It doesn't matter about race, religion, culture, geography, socioeconomic background. Everyone is able to, in some way, shape, or form, contribute to the arts. The arts are minimal risk. There's no known cases where the visual arts have actually lowered test scores. There are actually cases, there are actually a number of research projects that have gone on where students who have taken arts as a subject, their test scores are actually elevated, increased, because they are using that creativity, they're developing those new neurological pathways for their learning. Even online learning, as limited as we are sometimes because of our new situation for many people, the online learning opportunities that we are able to provide our students may not necessarily be what we can give them when they're sitting in a classroom with us. However, even those minimal opportunities to do something creative, to try the arts, to challenge themselves, do help them. Right? The arts are a case of lifelong learning. Right? Myself, I'm a lifelong learner of the arts. I've always tried something, anything from as young as I can remember onwards. It doesn't mean that you have to be wonderfully good at anything. As long as you try, as long as you have fun, as long as it provides enjoyment, a bit of laughter, and a nice cathartic relaxation for you. It's enjoyable. Try it. The arts are a brain-based discipline. In the visual arts, in the arts, we're looking at the visual arts, the music and kinesthetic arts of drama and dance. Brain research in recent years has actually located centers in the brain specifically for the arts. New research proves that there is a biological basis for creating arts in people. So we now have a lot of research to show that the arts are an essential part of the learning process and something the individual needs to do to create, to share that with other people. The arts are culturally necessary. The arts serve the cultural needs of society. They promote a better global society. They give the students a much greater introduction to who they are, who we are in the whole global scheme of things. They also help us understand more about our local culture and who we are in terms of what they're doing, who they are, where they're going, their identity. The arts help to promote better understanding, both personal and global. They help us to share our culture. So through the arts, we are able to share without the use of language, without the need for language, with other people that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do. The arts promote our social skills and how we communicate, how we are able to interact across cultural barriers, across religious borders, across geographical zones in the world. So we are able to communicate very well through the arts. They give us a sense of awareness of ourselves, of other people, and a much more open-minded approach to tolerance, which is a wonderful thing to see in a classroom. Which brings us to the unity and harmony that the arts are able to offer the students. Through the arts, they're able to connect in ways that they can't do with other subject areas, or they may not be able to do without the help of the arts. And the arts do help us to enhance our cognitive and perceptual skills. So overall, the arts do stack up as a very good, vital, essential discipline in the lives of our students and the lives of our people. We should support the visual arts because of their diverse and dynamic, broad-based value as they partner with all other widely accepted educational disciplines. There are no other disciplines which the arts do not couple with very nicely. So this is a very good thing for art teachers and also a very good area for other subjects, other disciplines to consider as an optional approach to how they will address subjects and issues with their students. Now, this year has seen, well, from last year, we've had the global pandemic of COVID-19, which has greatly impacted education. There has been no research, there has been no study to prove one way or another at the moment what works, what doesn't. So teachers globally are really trying to find their way. It is perhaps a very challenging time. It can be a very disappointing time, but at the same time, there's a lot of new discoveries, there's a lot of new ways, there's a lot of new approaches that are opening up that people are finding work very well with their students. Previously, the art room was a place where we had the hub of activity, collegiality, students talking together, great communication, everybody sharing ideas, lots of interaction going on, resources were shared around the room, experimentation, discovery, so much inquiry going on. But art room was just an amazing place for students to be, to enjoy, and to try different things. Make a mess, have a bit of fun, laugh around, and now, unfortunately, we are looking at students sitting in isolation at home, working very quietly without benefits of being in this collegial environment. So what does that mean? Well, personally, when we went into lockdown here, it was a bit of a panic. It's like, well, how in the world do I go from here to teaching arts? I need a lot of stuff. I need to be able to see the students. The idea of how in the world do we do this? And there was no guide that you could pick up and say, okay, we're now online. Here, turn to page 3. This is how you teach the arts online. It was a sense of discovery for art teachers, literally what does work and what doesn't work. So my journey here is what I'm going to share with you. All right, so looking at all the goals that we have for the visual arts, we do want to meet these goals, and we do know that the arts are very good in terms of their compatibility, how they reach our students. So with that in mind, okay, they're pretty good. Let's begin the journey. Now, whoops. This meant that suddenly being plunged into the online situation where you don't have immediate access to students, a lot of innovation was necessary. And that came in many colorful different ways of trying lots and lots of different things. And here are some of those ways along the way. Yes, this is pretty much what my desk looks like at the moment. 2 computers, lots of cords, no space, and in a nice little corner. Unfortunately, I really miss being able to interact with the students. So I'm not sure what your classroom looks like. This is pretty much what a lot of teachers I've seen looks like now. Okay, the new direction was a case of, look, this is what's happening. Just keep going. It was a chance to connect with other teachers around the world, and suddenly the need to go global. Meeting other art teachers, connecting with ideas. What are you doing? What's working for you? What's working with your students? At this level, what are they doing? What works? At this level, what are they doing? How is that going? So it was a lot of sharing, discussing what does and what doesn't work. Some things work very well in different schools in different areas, and yet they didn't work. The exact same thing did not work for other teachers. So for me, I was very fortunate to connect with teachers globally regarding visual arts, and a lot of the things were trial and error. I would try something, it worked, it was great, shared it with other people and say, oh, that was a real buzz, it just didn't work. And vice versa, they would share some great ideas with me. It was about discovering our own pathways to learning and how we best went about making those successes for the students along the way. I'm not sure how your students responded. I'm not sure how they did with their work. It was very hard at the beginning because the students likewise did not have any idea or any clue what they were doing, how they were doing, and what was expected of them in those early stages. Now we're on our way to art classes that are very clear. There are high expectations of the students because everything has now come into play along the way. We have the organization, we have the structure, we have the opportunity to now restore a lot of what the students previously had in the classroom. Unfortunately, the one thing missing is that lovely collegial environment in the classroom. But other than that, moving forward, we're getting there. Okay, at the start, those lovely Google Docs, like, okay, do something, do the task, put your name at the top, put your picture in there, and whatever writing you wanted about that. It turned into just a whole mishmash of documents and files going all over the place, which was just a nightmare when it came to marking anything. And then parent-teacher conferences came about. Like, how do you share all of this? How do you keep click, 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 click from one thing to another to share with the parents? So one idea that came across was to go with Google Slides. I don't know, is this going to work? All right, fine, we'll give it a try, see how we go. So my first trial of this was with grade 8 because grade 9's unit ended up looking like this. I couldn't do that again. So we went with Google Slides. Now I'm going to click on this and I hope we can actually get there. Sorry. This one. Okay, back to present here. And what happened was Google Slides started out as just a case of, here's the task, go and do it. Or as well as the classes, I'm not the most tech savvy person in the world. I'll let you know that now. But along the way, with a lot of help from a lot of different teachers and a lot of support from a lot of people and art teachers globally, it was a case of figuring it out. There was a lot of, here, try this one, here, try that one, this works, this works. I found that for me, the most simple, the easiest way to get through this was with, it's not going, oh, here we go, was with Google Slides. I was able to, and these were the good parts that I liked about it, I was able to start with some examples. Now, the first unit was very hard because coming up with all the examples for me wasn't, it was very time consuming, but what I do enjoy is that I can actually pick and choose some of the best of and some of the very good examples from other students, and I can show those to the students, and they're kind of get a bit about, oh, look, that's mine, miss, that's mine. I say, yes, that is yours. So they're quite happy to have their work on show as a bit of a celebration of what they're doing as well along the way. And along the way, I'm able to use our, use various Jamboards and use various software to actually create an interest, jumping away from here and jumping to other platforms to try some work. We are able to include examples of students' work for upcoming groups. It's a very easy format to present from. It's a very easy format to insert what the students need to do. So this would be their worksheet, and they just simply go along. You don't have, so normally writing this on the board or giving them worksheets or having them do this in their process journals. The Google Slides then became the art journal. This became the substitute art journal, and the more that I used it, the more I realized that I was able to get more out of what I'm doing with Google Slides. Trying to build up skills was one very hard area. It is a great thing in arts to be able to sit there, look, see, ask questions, come back to what is going on, and ask for more help. Well, it wasn't possible with teaching online. Next thing I discovered is cool. You can actually, what? All right, you can actually put videos in here. Another perk for this one, and the students really appreciated that. The videos that were shared from YouTube, as well as then getting a little adventurous, making my own videos to share with the students. A lot of photos, a lot of videos. Along the way, there was so much to share with them. Shapes led on to creating the subjects that we worked in 3D art. Okay, different backup work for the students, and along the way, having their own fun of creating. Sorry, I'm getting very slow here. This is the current final project that they're working on, which is creating a fantasy room. They're looking at one-point perspective. So that would be our starting point with grade 8s. And what the students' work is looking like is coming out very, very well. The next step was to, come on, it's working out here. Sorry, take a moment. Oh dear. All right. We then moved on to the grade 9s, and all the work that they were doing came together. They're studying more of the lens-based art. One teacher overseas shared a task with me for lighting and asked me to try it out with my students here, which we did, and the students came up with some very good results. Some tragedies for the poor eggs, but we actually got there. So it's also teaching them skills when they put their art journal together. This is my example that I share with them. The students create their own art journals. They have to share those in a folder with me. They are asked if they're happy to share that with the other students in the class. Most of them say yes. There's very few that would like to keep theirs private at the start, but by the middle of the unit, most are quite happy because if they're sharing them, they're also getting feedback on their work, which is a very good thing for them to still have. That trust, that element of sharing, that element of getting positive feedback and how to give positive feedback to your fellow classmates when they see the work of others. It also inspires them by giving them more ideas, by having all of these shared workspaces they can see with each other. The students then got busy trying to work with cell phones. Stuck at home, what could they do? Where could they go? So they had to work with what they've got. So trying to work with materials and then putting together our own little art gallery that they could go through, comment, and reflect on for other students. One of the areas that we were trying to enjoy a little more was the curatorial rationale, how the artist shares their work. So again, Google Slides gave us that opportunity to do that very well. Looking at other artists, how other artists create, and the students sharing their moments of how they learn at home during our C19 situation. These artworks that they have created, you have a small sample of them here. The students were asked how they create them, but ultimately, please share a positive message of how you feel, what you are doing to encourage others. And we took these photos that the students made of their time in lockdown, and we've been sharing those with other students to create a really positive, encouraging environment. It's also a chance for the students to connect with their fellow classmates, with other students in their grade levels, and other students in the school as we share those. Still looking at our global connections and issues, the students are able to research, obviously, but bringing that research back and sharing that together, Google Slides, again, gives us that opportunity. But one of the things that made it very good is that having extra slides around, it's always possible to use these as a whiteboard or a blackboard. Yes, you have smart boards. Yes, you have everything else. But when you don't have a smart board in your room, which I don't, I'd like one, but I don't. When you don't have smart boards, when you just have the basics, using Google Slides allows you to just take another slide, use that, set up the information. We were struggling very hard with this concept of plagiarism and how to cite artists and when and how to cite them. So again, just using your Google Slides as your whiteboard shared with the students. This worked out very well for everybody. And as they ask questions, as we move through units, it's very quick and easy to just insert slide, and off we go. Now, one of the most challenging ones so far has been working with the grade 11s. And I think that's the wrong one. This one. All right, let's get into this one. This is something that we are building up over time. And the students have started the year. They have started with, some have started with a very good background in the visual arts. Some have absolutely no background, which the course does allow. And they've come in, normally they would come into a classroom, be able to see everything. But because they can't, how do we share everything? How do we do anything? Again, Google Slides came the simplest, the easiest way for us to share information with each other. So we started our art journal journey. And for this, the students gave me some topics to begin with on what they were interested in doing, what they would like to explore. So we threw together a number of slides. I say we because this was also with student input as well. We threw together a number of slides, and then the students went and experimented and tried various tasks themselves. These ideas were looking at, and we were able to come up with anything from entrepreneurship in art, looking at the classics in art, but finding ways that the students could actually explore and discover and continue their art journey while they were making new discoveries for themselves. This was one of the beauties of Google Slides, because it did give us a very simple format. It gives us something that the students can use and create very well. Prezi is another option, but Google Slides came out as the winner because everybody was quite happy to use this and still get very creative while they were working with Google Slides. So in terms of ease of use, if you're in a country or an area where Wi-Fi can be challenging at times, which we are here, start at the same time. Shh. Okay, right, moving on. Okay, sorry about that. So when we had so much challenge to our Wi-Fi and our internet here, the students are doing the best that they can. Google Slides is also wonderful because it allows us to take one slide and they submit that one slide and they keep their entire art journal together as one piece. They've got links in left, right, and center, and as they explore, as they find things, it's kind of like a Wikipedia, this shared art journal, and as they find more things, as the discovery goes on, they're able to make their own links and add more in there. Right, things that they've liked, things that they've been inspired by, we create some spaces and then bring it all together, and then that is a shared collaborative effort from people. Some basic background for them that can go in instead of them reading textbooks, which they at the moment can't get access to. Challenges for them along the way, explorations and other students' work shared with them, helps to inspire them, helps to give them an idea along the way of what they need to do and how they should best do that. Right? Along the way, they may have a lot of questions, but one of the good things is having this and having the visual opportunities with Google Slides allows us to then move into areas, and quite a lot of them have used this as a basis for what they're now moving into themselves, their own journey, their own path, their own explorations. So this is kind of how Google Slides has stepped in, saved the day, offered us a lot of creative opportunity, especially with the visual arts, in a very simple way that still offers the students a very broad range of opportunity. We're still under development on these sections here, right? So, right, we'll leave that there. Excuse me a minute while we jump back to our original slide. All right, so that was a bit of an exploration through. Yeah, we're still a little bit slow here. All right, that gives us a bit of opportunity to take from this, which was an absolute nightmare. It was very difficult to work with the students, to check what was going on, who's done what work, who hasn't. So in terms of working very well for a teacher, it has done a lot to save time to work with Google Slides. It has done a lot to be able to, at the end of every unit, share that with the parents. The students are able to make sure the parents have a link, and then when it comes to parent-teacher conferences, we can just open the one document and there it is, there's all their work. And we can go through what is and sometimes isn't there with the parents and have our discussions and comments and For the most part, the students have really tried hard. A lot of them appreciate the opportunity to be creative. There are some where, arts is just not their thing, and that's understandable. But along the way, most of them have tried very hard, and the work that they have put in has been exceptional, exceptionally good, very impressive work. A lot of thought, and perhaps one of the things of being at home and not being in the environment at school has actually improved is that when I ask them to do their curatorial rationale, the students have been wonderful about writing and really sharing a lot of very deep thoughts and ideas about what their concerns are, what they are dealing with, what their issues are, what their worries are. And sometimes through the artwork that they're doing, that has become a very good process for them to work through and to create through and to make those personal connections and sharing. So it has been a very good experience for everybody. So how do visual arts stack up? Well, online, it has been a bit of a challenge, and we have had a lot of things going on that are new. Quite literally, they're new. And teachers globally are doing their best to find their own pathways with their students. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Going through the whole process, I have enjoyed the process with the students. It has been a wonderful learning experience, trying to create something that is meaningful, offers me the opportunity to share, to teach with the students, and to actually achieve some very good results, and do that in the most simple way that every student has access to and every student can actually focus on, has been great. So, whoops, come back. No, it's not going to let me do it. It was supposed to move, but it didn't move. Okay. Technical glitches. This is a learning opportunity for me. So along the way, we have actually managed to survive. We are still able to assess what we are doing. Of course, in a school, they love to assess everything, and the arts is now something that we do assess. The question is, should we assess? And that's for another time. All right, the arts still present minimal risk for students online. Through these art journals, they are able to share, they are able to be inclusive of others, they are still able to explore globally as well as locally into different areas, race, religion, culture, personal identity, any issues that they are trying to explore. They are challenging themselves, they are working at a level that they understand that they are doing, and the results from their work has been quite remarkable considering the situations that they're in and the challenges that they've had. So ladies and gentlemen, at this point, Miss Adriana, I'm not sure if we finish or we have questions, but I think we'll bring it to a close. Or not. Miss Adriana, are you there?
Yeah, I was just going to leave you to say goodbye
Okay,
to
I
them.
don't know.
They just have absolutely no need to see my face. But thank you very much, Michelle. That was really, really interesting what you were covering there. The visuals are fabulous, actually. So that's a lot of the work that the students have put together as part of their kind of e-portfolio. Oh,
I'm not sure
amazing.
that is of interest to people or not. We're just working through things that generally are of interest to the students and things that they've tried. So sometimes even the most simplistic of ideas have presented a very big challenge for the students. You would think that, now I'm kind of wondering here, if I give you ask you to start drawing some things. You would think that sometimes that's quite an easy thing to do, but just the simplest tasks sometimes can present the most difficult challenges. And the students have been quite surprised on, just how challenging sometimes things can be. So it's been interesting.
Yeah.
And also for you as well, have you kind of found that everything just takes that little bit longer?
Yeah, from what they would normally do in a classroom, I guess the inspiration in seeing their friends working, they're still talking, they're still interacting, but they're still working along with it. And I think that if you're sitting there on your own, you're working at a pace that is just slowing down, or if you're motivated, then they're really fast and that's it, they're done overnight. So having that motivation of others around you is a very good thing. When you don't have others with you, that's when it does become very hard, and so students are very slow, or they are taking more time than they normally would in the classroom, which spreads out their required time, which means that we therefore can't cover as much of the material as possible. I'm not sure how other teachers are finding that as well.
Yeah, well, they're saying, in terms of online learning and virtual meetings, things like that, Zoom fatigue is another thing that they're talking about, that it just gets really exhausting doing this online all the time. So, and that's adults. So imagine how it's impacting on students, definitely. I know at our school, we try and talk a lot more about student well-being, isn't it? So it was interesting what you were saying at the beginning about how even the visual arts there can, it's fun, it provides unity, harmony, you're coming together, it's creativity, and all those elements there could contribute positively to student well-being.
Yeah. Probably the most impacted group that I am seeing is the Year 11s that are coming through at the moment. And I guess it's also that they're the ones that are quite comfortable at this point to talk about how they feel about what's going on. Some of the younger ones are just racing from one group to another. But the Year 11s, I've seen the start of the year, and I've seen the motivation and the creativity has just declined. The passion that they came in with, it's very hard to maintain that. And that's been one of the biggest discussions we've had, is the students ask, how do I find my creativity? How do I find that passion, that enthusiasm again? And that is really taking its toll, unfortunately, on students.
Yeah, definitely. All right, then. Well, thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to do this. I know it was one of the first times that you've done an online workshop, but I tell you, you are a natural. You just were talking all the way through, and, when there was a bit of buffering, you were still making sure that you kept the audience engaged. So you did a really, really good job. And I learned a lot as well. It makes me want to take up visual arts now. So I'll just be sitting in the back of your class, okay? If that's all right. Excellent.
Okay,
all right. Okay, so give a wave to everybody. Thank you very much. This is part of the GEG APAC schedule. So check us out. We've got loads more tomorrow and Sunday. Thanks, everybody.